Hello, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Edward Heim, and in today's video I'm going to show you a comparison between using a self-prepared chromatic black versus a tube black, in my case Ivory Black. So I'm going to mix up my own black. I have an older video showing how to do that, so I'm not really going to get too much into that explanation in this video. And next to my my ultramarine blue and asphaltum, this is the tube Ivory Black. Here I have some flake white replacement, and I have some medium and a prepared panel. So we're gonna mix up the chromatic black, paint it out, start mixing in some white, maybe get a couple variations, and then we're gonna see what happens when you're going into straight black, and we will compare notes side by side. So this will be a good demonstration to see what the difference is and probably why you should always push to use a chromatic black, as it has much more harmony in your paint mixing and your color mixing, and ultimately give a better result. Anyway, let's get to it. So let's make some chromatic black. So ultramarine blue, some asphaltum, proportionately more blue than the asphaltum. So far I've broken 2 of my palette knives. Just pushing down too hard trying to wipe paint off of them. That's my fault. I gotta be a little more careful. So in this video we're using this palette knife. This one isn't busted. Okay, so that looks pretty good, just eyeballing it. So that's something I would start using. Okay, so there's my black, my chromatic black, and here's tube black. So here's my panel. There's no medium in this. I'm gonna just smear some of that out. So that's probably pushing more towards the blue. So to make it slightly more neutral, probably needs a little more brown, but we're gonna determine that when we mix a little white. So let's take some of this Ivory Black and just a little oil separation, right? I have this tube, it sits around, I don't use it. Let's just make that consistent. And let's stick a swash of this paint here. Okay. So the Ivory Black is darker, that's true. After all, there are many shades of black. Let's keep going. So let's take this color I made and let's mix it into some of this flake white replacement. Okay, so this is definitely a cooler black. Cooler meaning it's leaning towards blue. This definitely has a bluish quality. So to make it more neutral, got a little touch more brown, but that's okay. This is actually good for the demonstration. So this is chromatic black. We've lightened it up, so now you could see which direction it's pushing in. So it's cooler blue versus the warmer brown. So we're going to take this, and then we're going to put it side by side. I'm just trying to mix that up better so I don't get any streaks of white. Okay, that's good enough. So let's put this down here. So there's my chromatic black. This makes you leaning more towards blue. So let's take Ivory Black. Right, too much. Take white. Let's mix these together and let's see what happens. Okay, so that's gray. Probably what most people think of when they say gray. So you would lighten this up by adding more and more white to the mixture. That's good enough. That's somewhere in the middle. We can see what happens when we lighten up Ivory Black. Let me just mix this up. Okay, let's take some of that. I got our little paint swatch. Clean off our knife. Now, let's warm up our original chromatic black paint pile with some more brown. So let's take some more brown, asphaltum, my brown of choice. Warm this up. So blue is cooler, brown is warmer. So I can already tell having these side by side. So mix this up. I'm going to put it down next to our original mixture, the paint swatch. So that's definitely more neutral. In fact, let's keep pushing it further. Let's really force the warm brown issue here on the black. Let's take that. Let's go here under the Ivory Black. Okay. So blue bias, pretty close to the middle neutral, and then pushing towards the warmer brown bias. Let's mix white into those two and then analyze. Grab some white. I'm just gonna mix it right into these piles here. So that's yep, so there's our neutral. Doesn't seem like it's pushing cool or brown. If you really want to split hairs, it's probably still pushing slightly towards blue, but this is good enough. Okay. Let's take that, put it right here. And then let's go back. One last paint mixture. Go into this warmer brown. Probably too much white, that's okay. That lead white's pretty heavy. It's simulating lead paint. So lead paint's very heavy bodied. This one's no exception. It's a very good replacement. Very nice white to work with. Highly recommend it. Gamblin makes it. I'm sure others do too. I also recommend regular flake white, leaded white. More expensive though, but very nice painting experience to be sure. Okay, so now this looks more like a chocolate milkshake. So it's our brown, warm black. Make that a little smoother. Okay. So what's going on here? Okay, let's hold this so we don't get that glare. So this is black from a tube, Ivory Black, mixed with white. And it will be lighter, obviously, with more white you add, darker, the less white in the mixture. Here we have our first mixture, which was very blue heavy, chromatic black. So when white's added to it, it looks like a very, very blue gray. Here's a more neutral mixture. There's more brown mixed in our chromatic black, yielding a more neutral gray. So yeah, adding more white would make this lighter still. You can make as many steps as you want. And then with our very warm black, chromatic black, pushing towards warm brown, lighting it up, that's what we have. So starting from this paint pile, you have leaning towards blue, somewhere right in the middle, and then you have warm. Look at the variation of grays from our own paint mixture. I mean, that's blue, brown, and white to lighten it up. And then you have black. The only variation will be how light or dark it is. These colors, because again, I use a limited palette, so you can only darken a color two ways when you're not using black paint, which kind of dulls the color. You can use dark blue or you can use dark brown. That's it. Mix them together. Chromatic black, because it's made from the two, obviously that's going to darken the color. So this gives you that nice variation. It mixes better into your paints. It doesn't dull them out. It doesn't obliterate the chroma, the intensity of the original pigments as much as black would. When would I use black paint? I've used this one time. I did a portrait of my former dog, a Squishy, German Shepherd, God rest his soul. I painted the background in black, and that's because I wanted stark black. I used a clean paintbrush with nothing in it to have this super dark, intense blackness to suck you in. That's the only time I use that. Otherwise, I'm doing this because you can control this variation. Oh, I want it cooler, go more blue. I want it warmer, go more brown. You have much more control. It opens up so many more possibilities. You get so many nicer grays and darks and every variation that comes with it. So hopefully you got something out of this. This is a good demonstration to see what's going on mixing your own chromatic blacks versus using just straight black. It's fairly one note. I mean, it's just this, and you can get lighter or you keep it darker. Here, not only does it get lighter or darker, you have every variation, cooler, warmer, more neutral. You can play back and forth, and they all tie and blend into each other so nicely. After all, the human eye sees the world in gray naturally, and then there's just more color on top of the gray. So it's very important to have a strong command of grays and natural blacks. Try it out, experiment. It's important to do. You learn by doing. Don't take my word for it. Try it out for yourself. Hopefully you see what I mean. Again, if you got anything out of this video, please subscribe, like, and share. It helps out the channel. I do appreciate it. And thank you.